Hi, I'm Sandy Schreck, and today we're previewing this Romeo vase from Canpol that is part of our new collection of the Canpol vases. So this is just really such an impactful vase and great color. So we're going to do a complementary color harmony using the oranges and yellow tones combined with some of the blue florals. So to start off with, we're going to create a stem grid. And I'm going to come in and utilize 3 of these Lexi buttons. And we're going to be coming in the 3 different angles here. And so that's going to form a great grid in there to be able to insert our flowers. We're going to add a couple stems of salal right now. And I'm going in across the top and making X's as well. So coming in across all those stems and continuing to form that grid within our vase. And I'm just lastly going to come in here. So 3 pieces by having that support system of those buttons. They're an economical way to create that stem grid. And then I'm going to come in and add in our hydrangea. And this will now be supported. And so rather than putting that hydrangea in first and then poking all your flowers through and then having it not really be visible in the design, I want it to be impactful. So have it be up and be a part of the composition. And so that enables me to do that. And then we're going to come in and add some of that different shape. And so we're seeing that crescent shape be a really popular shape in our floral designs right now. So I've got these orange snaps that I'm going to bring to the one side here, and you can see how they all stand up and going into that stem grid. And then on the other side, we're going to use a couple of these amazing blue delphiniums. So I'm just taking a look at the proportion of each of them to determine how I'm going to place them. So bring that in so that has that natural curve that comes in. And then this one just a little bit lower. And coming in, so you can see how that's coming together. I'm going to turn these snaps so that they come in a little bit more, and so you can see now we're going to come down into our focal area. And so I'm going to be using some sunflowers that are impactful. I have a couple of them. I want to look at the scale and proportion of each one and kind of how they're going to work together in the vase before I figure out where each one's going to go. And if I'm a little bit less experienced designer, I'm going to pull the vase right to the edge and figure out where I'm going to cut that to be able to do one insertion and have it land right where I want it to. And with this Romeo vase having that wider base on the bottom, you're able to do a little bit more angled insertion so that I don't have these stop signs not leading into the design, but they're each going to work with each other and come up into this composition. So here I'm just coming through that hydrangea a little bit, so you still see the hydrangea and have that come through. Next, I'm going to put in a couple of the spray roses. And spray roses are something that is growing in popularity. They have a lot of different blooms on them. So for one insertion, here I end up with 5 roses. And so it can be a really impactful insertion. And now I'm going to come in and you can see how that's going to bring that all the way to the back. And then I'm going to bring a smaller one and come in, just feed my finger in a little bit so that I can come in all the way across that design, and my stem really comes in and all the way down into that composition. So I'm really going through that stem grid, and you can see how those two pieces work together on that. And then we're going to just add a little bit more of the form flowers, which the alstroemeria is, and it has a little bit more unique shape bloom. And so we're just finishing from one side to the other, and then I'm going to do this similar kind of thing over in here. So just continuing to form that pattern where I can see it from one side, draws me to the other, and keeps forming those lines coming through our composition. So it really is an all-around vase, even though we have some of the different product groupings that really are impactful. So here, the snaps all got a little bit too close together. So I am going to just move those a little bit so that I make sure that it looks like 3 flowers, not 1 flower. So for a little bit there, almost just looked like 1 flower. And then lastly, just adding in some of the base foliages. So I've got a couple Fatsia leaves here that I'm going to come in and just bring in under my focal in the front there, and then another one to the back. But they work really fast to collar a composition and finish off that edge, and then just give that visual weight so where it stops. And then just to get a little bit more textural impact up, I've got a little bit of the mini myrtle. And this is going to help to reinforce my lines that I've got coming up with those florals, doing that kind of hug crescent presentation. And so you can see how that just brings that green color up and down. I can cut this one in a couple pieces so that I can utilize it here, just a little bit lower. And then lastly, I'm going to have a piece that I can bring down into this area here. So here you can see our Romeo vase all dressed up and ready to go to the party. I'm Sandy Schreck for LBR Educates, and I hope I inspired you to create some fabulous florals.